Hi everyone, this is Andi here. So today is Ask Andy episode 4, and I'm going to talk about one question that I do get asked by a lot of people, which is how did I become an author? So it's actually quite by accident. I was a huge reader growing up. My mom was a teacher, and she was a big reader herself. And so I always grew up around books, and I always grew up around libraries. We would go to libraries every week, and I would take out a whole bag of books. And I had my favorites, which I would try to renew as much as possible. Um, so I was a big reader, and I got into fantasy. My mom bought me Terry Brooks's Shannara series when I was 12, and that was my big foray into fantasy, and I fell in love with the genre. And so I was a huge reader. And when I was in college, I got this idea for a book. And it wasn't anything. I'd never taken a creative writing class. I still have never taken a creative writing class. Um, it was not my major, obviously. It was not something that I really took seriously. It was just an idea that I thought, hey, I'll write it down for fun. Just, why not? So during my summers or breaks in between, like the winter break in between semesters, I started writing it. And it was, again, just for fun. I didn't take it seriously at all. I would put it away for months or years at a time, and then I would start again, and I'd have to reread everything because I had no idea what I had written before because so much time had passed in between. And I kind of had my big goal with this was to have my mom read it because she's the one that inspired me to be a big reader and got me into books. And so that was my major goal with The Lost Heir, was to have my mom read it. But I'm a big procrastinator, as it's obvious by the fact that I would take years away from it. So in 2011, my mom died and the book was still not finished. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to put my ass in this chair and I'm going to write it and I'm going to finish it for her. So I did. And it took me probably maybe about 6 months total. I really focused solely on doing that. And I think it was part of my grieving process that kind of helped me deal with everything. But when it was done, I thought, well, it's done. Why don't I look to get it published? So I did, and I found this small press in Texas who picked it up and they published it. And during that whole time, I got an idea for another book because I was on a roll now. And so I wrote Celibathiel while The Lost Heir, while I was querying and while I found the publisher and all that jazz. And then Lost Heir was published in 2013, and through that process with the small press, I did not like it. I didn't like the small press itself, which I will keep nameless. Um, I didn't like the fact that I had no control over the editing, and it wasn't edited actually, even though they told me it was. I had didn't like the fact that I had no control over the cover. Um, I had no control over trying to get books review copies to send to people was a nightmare. Um, it was so hard to get it from the publisher, and lots of times they wouldn't even give me a copy to send it. So getting reviews was very difficult. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I look into self-publishing for Celibathiel? And so I did. And I started my imprint, Purple Sun Press, and I self-published Celibathiel in 2013 as well. So I kind of published two books at in the same year. And then that kind of just got me started off. From there I was like, well, I got to write the second books now. So I did. And that's what I do now. I am a full-time writer and I'm an author. And it certainly wasn't planned. It was certainly just kind of by accident, and everything just fell into place and it happened. And, out of tragedy, something beautiful came about, because if she hadn't died, I wouldn't have put my ass in that chair and I wouldn't have finished the book. And so I wouldn't have been sent on this journey. So it was actually quite by accident. But you know what? It really works. And I'm very, very happy that I found what I'm meant to do. So that's how I got to be an author and how I got to be published. So if you have any other questions for Ask Andi, please put them down in the comments, or you can also email me at andi@andio'connor.net. If you like this video, please subscribe and like the video below and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for joining me, guys.